Ever feel like, you've hit that self-help ceiling?
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got the vision boards, you've got your gratitude journals, maybe even a meditation app
Yeah.
too. But something's still missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, get ready to really rethink what you thought you knew about confidence. Today, we're diving into, this is interesting, the connection between engineering and emotional well-being.
That's right. We're not talking about, just your average self-help guru here.
Right.
Our guide today is Daniel Packard. And Packard is a former UC Berkeley engineer.
Wow.
Who traded robots for a really fascinating pursuit, which is rewiring the human nervous system for lasting change.
Yeah, you heard that right. Rewiring the nervous system. He went from building machines to basically creating an instruction manual for human potential.
Pretty amazing.
And he claims that with his system, you can eliminate, not just manage, those like nagging doubts and insecurities that I think we all have that hold us back.
Right.
In fact, he's so confident, he offers a 6-week program with a money-back guarantee.
That's a bold claim. And it definitely makes me curious, what has he tapped into that the rest of the self-help world seems to be missing?
Right. Because let's be honest, we've all been there.
We have.
Even with a few entrepreneurial wins under my belt,
Mm-hmm.
I still find myself battling imposter syndrome.
Right.
Procrastination, you name it. It's like, shouldn't I have this figured out by now?
Right. You've read all the books and been to all the workshops, but something's still not right.
Yeah.
And this is where Packard's approach takes a really different turn, I think. He argues that all these pesky emotions that we all grapple with, anxiety, procrastination, people-pleasing, that perfectionism, the classic low self-confidence.
The whole gang's here.
He calls them the funky five.
Yeah.
And he says that they're not actually separate issues. They're all symptoms of a deeper, often hidden root cause, fear.
So it's like having 5 different warning lights flashing on your dashboard, but it's really just one faulty sensor causing all the chaos.
Exactly. And just like a mechanic wouldn't just put a sticker over those warning lights,
right.
Packard says that we need to go beyond addressing those surface-level symptoms and target the source of our emotional distress.
Okay, I love a good analogy, I do. But break this down for me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, what exactly the faulty sensor when it comes to, our emotions?
Well, Packard's big aha moment was realizing that fear, despite how it feels, isn't actually generated in our minds.
Really?
Yeah, it originates in the body. Specifically in the nervous system. It's a physiological response, not just a mental one.
Wait, so you're telling all those racing thoughts, that feeling of dread in the pit of my stomach, that's not just me overthinking.
Right.
It's my body's alarm system, going haywire.
Precisely. And this is really where most self-help approaches, they kind of miss the mark. They focus on trying to rewire our thoughts, to change our mindset, which is kind of like trying to quiet a smoke alarm by arguing with it instead of putting out the fire.
Okay, I'm starting to see why he calls himself an emotional engineer.
Yeah.
He's looking at the wiring, the mechanics of our emotional responses.
Exactly. And just like an engineer wouldn't design a bridge based on good intentions alone, Packard believes we need a really systematic, evidence-based approach to truly transform our relationship with fear.
So if we're essentially hardwired for fear, how do we break free from this cycle?
Right.
It feels like most of us are kind of walking around with our internal alarm systems permanently stuck on high alert.
Yeah, and what's even more interesting, I think, is that a lot of us we're unknowingly hitting that panic button ourselves.
Oh, interesting.
Day after day.
Yeah.
Packard's a big advocate for what he calls radical self-care, but, not in the way we typically think about it.
Yeah, because bath bombs and face masks are great, but I don't think they're going to rewire my nervous system.
Exactly. He's talking about a really fundamental shift in the way we treat ourselves, moment to moment.
Okay.
And he uses this really powerful analogy, he says. Imagine someone treating you the way you often treat yourself.
Ooh.
Would you tolerate that from a friend? A partner?
Right.
Even a stranger?
Honestly, probably not. In fact, I would say most of us have a zero tolerance policy for anything less than respect and kindness from others.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yet we subject ourselves to this constant barrage of negative self-talk and self-criticism, these unrealistic expectations. And It's those like seemingly insignificant moments snapping at ourselves for a mistake or pushing aside our own needs to please other people, striving for these impossible standards
Yeah.
that really chip away at our sense of inner safety.
It's like it's death by a thousand paper cuts. Like individually they might not seem like much, but collectively they really wear you down.
Yeah, they do.
And as entrepreneurs, I think we're surrounded by these opportunities for self-sabotage.
Oh, absolutely.
The pressure to hustle, the fear of failure, the constant comparison game, right?
Right.
It's all fuel for that inner critic.
Totally. And think about it. How much more could you achieve if you weren't constantly like battling your own nervous system?
Right.
If you could channel that energy into creativity and innovation and building like meaningful connections.
Okay, well that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do we actually rewire those deeply ingrained patterns and create a new normal?
Right.
I mean, I've dabbled in mindfulness, I've tried journaling, I've even experimented with breath work, but nothing seems to like stick long term.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where, Packard's engineering background, I think, really comes into play.
Okay.
He argues that just like any complex system, the nervous system requires a specific set of tools and instructions to be effectively like recalibrated.
So instead of just handing us a flashlight and wishing us luck
Yeah.
in the emotional wilderness,
Right.
he's built a roadmap, a system for navigating out of that fear-based maze.
Precisely. And it's not about, suppressing those quote unquote negative emotions.
What?
Packard believes that fear, anger, sadness, they all have their place.
Right.
They have a purpose. It's about shifting our relationship with them,
Okay.
learning to experience them without letting them control us.
It's about reclaiming our power.
Yes.
Right? Not
Yeah.
letting our emotions call the shots in our businesses or our lives for that matter. So what does this system actually look like? Does it involve like electrodes and brain scans? It sounds like we're talking about, rewiring our internal circuitry, but
Yeah.
hopefully no scalpels or soldering irons are involved.
Thankfully not. Thankfully not. Packard's system is surprisingly accessible, actually.
Okay, good.
It blends, ancient wisdom with cutting-edge neuroscience. It's about understanding the language of the nervous system and learning to communicate with it
Okay.
in a way that builds safety and resilience.
Okay, so what does that actually look like in practice? Are we talking meditation retreats and sensory deprivation tanks?
It's much more grounded than you might think.
Okay.
His program incorporates tools like breath work, for example, which directly influences the nervous system.
Right.
Somatic exercises to kind of release tension and build body awareness.
Right.
And mindfulness practices to help us, just observe our thoughts and emotions without getting, swept away by them.
So it's not about like emptying our minds or pretending we don't feel fear.
Right.
It's about changing the way we relate to those feelings.
Exactly. Packard often describes it as building a new operating system.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, for your emotional world.
Right.
One that's rooted in self-compassion and clear boundaries. And a deep understanding of your own needs and your own triggers.
And this is where I think Packard's work really resonates with entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we talk a lot about, building sustainable businesses.
Yeah.
But what about building sustainable emotional lives?
Right.
Right.
It's so important.
It's hard to be an innovative leader when you're constantly running on fear and self-doubt.
It's a recipe for burnout. It really is.
Totally.
And this is what excites me most about Packard's work. I mean, it has the potential to be truly transformative, not just for individuals, but for the way we approach leadership and work culture. I mean, even our education system,
It's about creating a ripple effect.
Yes.
Right? Imagine a world where this understanding of the nervous system was as commonplace as knowing how to use a computer.
Right.
We could empower people from a young age to manage their emotional well-being.
Absolutely.
To build resilience.
And that's a really powerful vision and one that Packard really believes is achievable.
Wow.
And he's not just, waiting for the world to catch up. He's actively creating, resources and communities
That's awesome.
to make this knowledge accessible to everyone.
And that's where our listeners come in.
Yes.
If you're ready to dive deeper into Packard's work,
yeah.
and really kind of explore how the system can help you break free from fear and step into your full potential, we highly recommend checking out his website.
Absolutely.
It's danielpackard.com.
You'll find a ton of information there about his 6-week program. There's even a free consultation to see if it's, a good fit for you.
And for those of you who are ready to take action right now, Packard also offers free next steps calls.
Yeah, those are great.
This is a chance to actually speak with him directly.
Yeah.
Get personalized advice and start mapping out your own journey toward lasting emotional well-being.
Remember, true confidence isn't about never feeling fear. It's about knowing you have the tools
Right.
and the resources to navigate those challenges with courage, with resilience. And Packard's work really does provide that roadmap for anyone who's ready to embark on that journey.
This deep dive has given you a glimpse into the mechanics of fear and the incredible potential, I think, of rewiring your relationship with it. The question is, what will you choose to create with this newfound understanding?